Good morning. It is good to see you all on this first Sunday of Advent. A time in our church calendar that begins a new church year for us, and in which we begin to prepare for the coming of the Christ child one more time. My East Texas grandmother, my maternal grandmother, was born in 1900, and she lived to be 98 years old. In the last few years of her life, she couldn't do as much as she used to do. She had a big garden way into her 80s. But she couldn't do that anymore, and she couldn't do the things around the house that she used to do. She couldn't cut up a chicken to fry anymore. But she still loved to look at the women's magazines. Good Housekeeping was one of her favorites. So sometime in those last few years of her life, she was sitting in her chair and she was flipping through the latest issue. And she closed it. And she just looked up to nobody in particular and said, "Oh, I see so many things in here that I want." And my aunt, who was her caregiver, said, "Darling, what in there do you see that you want?" And she just looked off and didn't answer. And I remember sitting there, and it just crept over me how much longing was in that moment. And who knows what was going through her head. If it was longing for times past, for people who were no longer around, for particular types of family experiences, or a longing that looks ahead, perhaps, tinged with some hope. I don't know, because she didn't say. But it occurs to me that Advent is one of those times that is actually in the church calendar for us to get in touch with this deep longing that we have, both for times past, for people who are no longer with us, but also looking forward with a desire and a hope for better times. Advent is that season which puts us in the not yet, but now and coming time, if that makes any sense. The prophet Isaiah, he called our attention to this deep longing. And the words that we heard Josh read from the 2nd chapter of Isaiah are amazing words, looking forward to a time when God will be established on Zion, and all of the peoples of the world will stream to that place to receive instruction from God directly. And people will be beating their swords into plowshares. In other words, the instruments of war will be changed, transformed into instruments of nurture. Well, if I'm honest with you, I can almost feel a little cynical when I hear those words. Yeah, right. And during Isaiah's time, People must have been scratching their heads when they heard him talk about this, because they were in a dire situation themselves. The Assyrian Empire was threatening to invade, and the northern kingdom was trying to coerce the southern kingdom of Judah into making a deal that would keep them off of their borders. It was really dire time. And so to hear these words from the prophet that call us to not just imagine, but to have deep hope that what Isaiah speaks of is going to come to pass. And it seems to me that all of that can be wrapped up together: the desire, the longing, the hope, and then the sense of, no, this is not possible. And during the church year, we have a time of 4 weeks that helps us to live into that. In the lighting of our Advent candle for this Sunday, we heard Jenny talk about mystery and how the prophets call us to mystery. And then also the description of our usual human condition is that sometimes we can walk right through a mystery and not even know it's there. And that is a part of this space that we are in. And the Apostle Paul calls us to wake up and to see it. It is a word which is akin to Isaiah's word. You know what time it is. My friends, you know what time it is, for salvation is closer to us now than when we first heard the gospel. And for those who heard these words from Paul, they must have been scratching their heads just as the ancient Israelites did when they heard Isaiah. Really? But living with mystery, waking up to mystery, actually trains our eyes and our hearts to see the mystery that is all around us. And in fact, the kind of mysterious state that we live in, this bundle of longing and desire and cynicism wrapped up with hope all together, that's pretty mysterious, actually. But yet, on the journey to Bethlehem, we are called to have our eyes open for mystery and to not walk right through it without not even knowing that it's there. It changes the to-do list in the calendar. We can become so enslaved to our calendars and to our to-do lists and to our senses and to our obligations that sometimes it can make our blood pressure go up. Really. But giving ourselves over to eyes and hearts that can perceive mystery, it changes the whole dynamic. And indeed, we are called to wake up and see the light in the midst of the darkness. As people of Jesus Christ, as people who are preparing for the advent of the Christ child once again, we are called to see that that light is coming. And Isaiah and Paul call us to live as if the light is already here in its fullness. That's what it means to be children of light. The canticle that we recited and sung together earlier, I want to call your attention to the last two lines of that. Our darkness is passing away, and already the true light is shining. My friends, let us walk this road to Bethlehem. Let us see and live the mystery that is already all around us, and to live as children of the light. Amen.